Hello again and welcome to another edition of Shed Talk, my weekly magazine video series looking at the keeping, breeding and showing of cage birds with a special focus on the exhibition style budgerigar. Well actually, whilst the focus is mainly on exhibition style budgerigars, and we'll get a chance to look at some of those very shortly later on in this particular episode. We're actually out here in the Finch and Fife flight because we're going to begin the episode by an update on the Fifes and have a quick look at how they are doing. Thanks for all the feedback on the various episodes that we've had over the last few months. It's been most appreciated. Don't forget though, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel. All the subscriptions do help the channel to grow and of course promote the hobby to a slightly more wider audience. And of course, if you want early notifications on all future videos, then do hit the bell icon. So without any further ado, let's have a look at those Fifes from breeding to bench. So as I said, we're out here in the Finch and Fife flight with the main focus is going to be on the Fifes and what's happened over the last couple of days. So the main thing that I've done now is I've taken the old nest pan, so with the 4 baby Fifes in it, and I've now placed that on the cage floor. And in order to do that, I've removed the metal grill that's mainly there actually, so that any soft food that falls through isn't left on the bottom of the tray forever, and actually they can't get at it. So but I've removed that, placed the nest pan on the bottom of the cage floor. I must admit, when I was doing this, 3 of the baby Fifes jumped the nest. I'm pleased to say that they all very quickly refound the nest pan on the bottom of the cage floor without me having to put them back in, and they're now all back in there. The youngest one didn't, that stayed in there, so it is a little bit younger than the other 3. As I say, it's about a day younger, although when I look at it, it actually looks a little bit younger than that even, but I think that's just the way they're being fed. So yes, so they're all now back in there, and the second thing that I've done of course is I've put a new nest pan in the cage. It's a slightly different style and I couldn't fit it to where the other one was, so I've needed to fit it slightly further along. It's been inspected by both the hen and the cock bird, and I'm hoping that very shortly the hen will start building up again. I have put some new nesting material in the cage. Thanks to those who told me I need to do this to prevent the hen from feather plucking the youngsters in order to try and build up a new nest. So I put that in there, just waiting for her to start. The last time I put a nest pan in there with the material, she built up very quickly, so I'm hoping she will do again soon. So like I say, nest pan on the floor with the chicks in them. The main or a new nest pan in there, hoping that the hen will begin to build up again, and touch wood, we'll get a second round of eggs and some more young baby Fifes. I did say we would have a look at the youngsters to see if we could identify what colours they are. So what we'll do is we will do that in just a second. I think I have a rough idea of what they're all likely to be, but let's have a look at them now then. So these are the young canaries in my best attempt at describing them and what I think they are. So the first one we'll start with is one that has quite a lot of dark markings on him or on her, and that bird I would say is about 50-50 or just under 50-50, so I'm guessing that would be classed as a variegated bird in terms of the classes it would go into. This bird also looks quite dull in colour, and I'm not sure whether all youngsters look quite dull in colour, so I don't know whether that would make him a buff bird. So most of the markings appear to be on the head, the breast and the back. The next one is also got some dark markings on it, but I would think that this would be a ticked bird. The markings appear to be just a small patch on the eye, above the eye, a sort of stripe that runs across the eye, and then a tiny little bit on the back of the neck. So I would guess that's lightly variegated. Again, it looks very pale, so don't know, possibly a buff bird. We've then got one that, for as far as I can gather, has got no light markings on it at all. No dark markings on it at all. And so that one, I guess, is a clear. And then finally the youngest of them all, which is still in the nest pan, again looks like it's got no markings on it at all, so I'm guessing that that particular bird is also a clear. So there you go, that's my guess. In terms of buff or yellow, I don't know. The one that's got a little bit of the ticked one does appear to have some quite bright yellow on it, so maybe that's a yellow, I don't know. I'll have to wait until they grow a bit. Let me know when you can tell whether they're buff or yellow. I suppose the experts amongst you will be able to know just from the feeling the feather. So that's my description of what they look like. I'll see if I can get some photographs at the same time, so maybe I will have posted those up so you can see what I mean. Time now to go and have a look at the budgerigars.
Alan Fretten's decision making, take 2.
Okay, well, one of the first things is that I get out the yard whether the spots should be pulled, and evidently that wasn't compulsory, so I've ruled the spots out. I've taken into context the length of mast and everything else. So if we start along here, Tom. Well,
number 1.
Yeah, we can go with number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is really nice. I don't know who's the owner, but the light green is a nice, very nice light green.
Bob again.
Is it Bob McKay? And it would not sit on the perch. And then when I marked it stood up there. And I think it's a nice bird, a nice all-round bird, nice length, and the feather quality is very good. What I did like is this grey green, but I've had to put it down to 3rd because of the tail feathers and everything else. So it's an incomplete bird, but that's probably one of the best birds.
That's another Tom Jackson bird.
Is it? Yeah, it's a cracking bird. Yeah, it's very nice, and it's not that old. So I had to put this bird here, the green, 2nd because of the condition. It's not as good as this great green by any means. Same as this. This has got some flecking. It's also short of mast, and it's quite pinched in the head. So that's the green class. The grey. Some nice birds in here. 4. Again, feather, lovely directional feather. I know directional feathering message doesn't come into judging. It's probably a preference for the person, what they like. But that's going to be nice. It's not, again, fantastic condition at the moment, but that's a really nice bird. Nice length.
It's at that age, isn't it? Where it's kind of like gotten away from the bar.
Well, it's
going
through its first adult moult as well, isn't it? So it's not looking, but, although I'm not judging on the potential of the bird, but what's in front of me. The others are nice. Again, there isn't a complete bird. Short of tail feathers here. This one is probably the second, well, it is the second best. So I've just literally, and 4th number 2 in the class. So yeah, not a lot to say, but this is going to be a nice bird. I like to see it when it's gone through its adult moult. Whose is this? Is this
Rod's.
one of Rod's?
Yeah, I think so.
He's certainly got some feathers coming into his bird, hasn't he? Looks at him. 3, the opaline. To be honest, I always find it harder to judge birds which aren't so good. These are like your own. You haven't even seen my birds. Sorry. Ronnie told me all about it. So these, some flecking, grizzly on the top. Low capping, especially for opaline. Not a great deal to say about them, but yeah, again, they have got some condition about them. But again, yeah, this one's been, someone's taken the time to pull the spots, where this one hasn't, and that's mainly the difference between the 2 really, both similar birds. Class 4, these are some nice birds. What are they?
Alan, you missed it.
There wasn't a great deal between these 2. I don't think they've had much time in the showcase. But again, whose are these? Are they related?
Four number 3 is Rod's.
Both of them?
No, it's
Four number 3 is Rod's.
Number 5's mine, that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, still nice. But yeah, very similar type of bird. And young, so that's why it's on first. Yeah. Again, these two. Yeah, we've got the very short on Mars, quite high up, same as this one, the light green, and again this one also. So some of these, this one's got more style. That's why I've gone for this one. When he relaxes, got more style, more head carriage, and then just going down just the second and third. Again, fairly high mask. On this perch, it's got quite a nice bit of style about it. Double factor spangle, yeah, very nice. So this one's actually had the best in show. I put this up against the light green. The light green didn't stand, so but this bird he hasn't moved. So yeah, it's got a nice bird. What else have we got? There is your the bar heads, Tom.
4 bar heads.
Yeah. Got this. I think this is probably one of the youngest actually out there. The pied. I don't know how much time it's actually had in that cage, but it's not showing its probably full potential. It's pulling on itself, but that should be a nice bird. It'd be nice to see what that should be like as it's older. What do we have in here? This is a nice bird. Again, going through its moult, it's got a nice bit of feather on it. It's going to be a nice bird. Hen.
Yellow face?
Yeah, the yellow face. Whose is that? Rod's again? Yeah, it's going to be a nice bird. It'd be nice to see that as it comes through the mould. Yeah, not looking its best, but yeah, very nice. But again, you know, it's very hard to get people to bring the birds and to put the effort in bringing them. How many birds did we end up with? 27.
The lowest percentage.
Yeah, it's a shame.
There are some that's missing today. Like me and Adrian and
Yeah.
Graham.
But the quality of some of the birds are really nice. Yeah. And it's nice to see it. So, yeah. But thank you for asking me to judge. It's been a pleasure.
Well, I do hope you enjoyed that little look at the Swindon Young Bird competition. Very enjoyable afternoon, and big thank you to the judge for giving his comments on the birds at the end. That's always very, very useful. So how did I do at that particular little competition? About what I expected. There was no, so it was most of the people there were champions or quite experienced intermediate breeders, so I wasn't expecting to, win any major prizes. The bird that I thought would do reasonably well did do reasonably well for me. It was the opaline cinnamon sky blue, and that came third in a fairly strong section. The judge did make a couple of comments about it actually when he spoke. He mentioned that it had slightly short mask, that it was letting it down. So I will need to think about that when in next year's breeding programme, when I think about what I might pair that particular bird to. Clearly it needs something that's going to extend the mask quite a lot. So that was that. I hope you enjoyed that look at the Fifes as well, and please do, you know, as I said, please do give me feedback on what I think the colours are, and then obviously I've got to try and work out cock hen and buff and yellow features as well, but we've still got plenty of time to do that, and we'll just touch wood now that the youngsters will go down, or the pair will go down again for their second round. So what about in here? Behind me at the moment is one of the newer pairs, and they have actually now laid 7 eggs in there, which is really, really good. Unfortunately, the first 4 of those eggs were clear, and I was beginning to think that actually we were going to have a completely clear round. However, egg number 5 is definitely full. Egg number 6 I think is full, and I'm hoping that egg number 7 will be full. 6 it's still a little bit early to tell, but I'm hoping that 5 being full, 6 is likely to be full as well. So we may well have some youngsters, or have some, if we've got full eggs, that's the first, you know, barrier passed. Next thing now then is hopefully that those youngsters will hatch. The other pair, the pair that's in cage number 3, hen's been in and out of the nest box, but they're showing no real sign that the hen is about to lay. There's no big poops or anything. We've still got a couple of weeks. I'm going to leave them in there. Got a couple of weeks to see if they'll start to lay. Otherwise I will split that pair, and we'll just have one pair down for the end of the breeding season. The other 2 cages that have got youngsters in them are obviously cage number 8 and cage number 9. Those are currently being weaned, 2 in each, and going on nicely. There's 2 actually, the oldest bird and I think the 3rd oldest bird, so 1 in cage 9 and 1 in cage 8. They're all from the same parents, so you may remember we fostered 2 of them out because the pair in cage 8 had a completely clear round, so we fostered out a couple of eggs. So, but there is one, or you know, there is 1 in each of those 2 cages, as I say. Actually doesn't look too bad to me. Quite nice and biggish head and reasonable size mask. So touch wood, we might have a couple more keepers off of the cobalt and I think it's a light green cobalt cock and a light green hen. We might have a couple of birds off of those that will be okay. But we really are coming to the end of the breeding season for the budgerigars. So as I say, we'll look at closing the nest boxes down, or we're looking at closing all of the nest boxes down, all the breeding cages down before the end of May. But what I will do in probably the next episode is we'll talk a little bit about how my breeding season went in comparison with the others, just in terms of the stats, I suppose, you know, and have a think about what that means in terms of what both in terms of the total number of birds, but also we'll have a look at what my plan was around some of those families and whether we've achieved what we wanted to achieve within those particular families. So that's a quick run round of the breeding cages in here. Well, that is very nearly all we've got time for in this episode. What I thought I'd do before I go though is just give you a quick look at this bird here that you can see. Not because he's particularly anything special, you can probably see that he's not looking perfect. It was just that about a week ago I came in to the shed in the morning and this particular bird was on the floor of the main flight cage, and my guess is that he'd had a stroke. He was lying on the floor, as I say, and just merely pushing himself around with one leg in circles, unable to lift his head, and twitching quite a lot. Didn't, you know, I took him out of the cage, and then my first thought was, do I just euthanize him? There's not much chance of him surviving anyway. But Couldn't bring myself to do that, so what I did was I popped him into one of the show cages and then gave him a little bit of heat, expecting that when I came back into the shed in the evening he'd no longer be with us. It was just really to stop, did that really to stop the other birds from pecking at him in the bottom of the cage, so or the bottom of the main flight. I came back in the evening and he was still alive, still twitching and still just pushing himself around in circles on the bottom of the show cage. So I lifted him back out again and gave him a little drink of water, which he didn't take, so he took none of the water at that stage. Popped him back into the show cage on the heat and left it, expecting the next morning again that he would have passed away overnight. Next morning, still alive, clearly, and but still in a very bad way, so still on the bottom, although he seemed to like stop turning in circles and was just lying there now twitching. Again, lifted him out, gave him the opportunity to have a drink of water from a small container. This time he took the water and drank quite a fair bit of it. I popped him back in the cage. Next evening, or that evening, came back in and still alive, but still lying on the bottom of the cage. This went on for about another day and a half, where I just kept offering him a little bit of water, and he finally was sat up in the bottom of the show cage. So what I thought I'd do is I'd pop him into one of the stock cages with some seed and just how he got on in there. Over the following 2 days, he just seemed to recover, and as you can see now, he's perching fine, eating fine, drinking fine, still doesn't look 100%, but I really am surprised that he made it. It just goes to show you that sometimes these birds can be really, really tough. There are other times when slightest knocking they seem to keel over, but this particular bird has pulled through, and I suppose I'm really glad that I didn't euthanize it. I mean, it's never going to do anything, it's just going to spend the rest of its life probably in the flight cage, but there you go. One of those little stories that, I suppose, a little bit of hope there as always. So there we are. As I say, that is all we've got time for now in this episode. In the next episode, what I will do is we'll get all the youngsters out of the flight behind me. We'll run them through the showcase and we'll get our first real look at them. There will be an update, of course, on the Fifes, and hopefully by then the hen will have started to build her second nest. Enjoy the video, then do hit the like, do comment, do share the video as widely as you like. Of course, do subscribe, but most importantly, do stay safe and enjoy your birds.